You shall not pass!
I'm Man Bear Pig.
What?
Welcome back to AsArt with Nick and John. We post 3 videos a week. Hit that subscribe button to stay updated. And for our podcast links and all of our other fun stuff, go to asart.space. John, we're going to talk about Man Bear Pig in a second. Trust me, we're going to get to Man Bear Pig. That's at the end. We will talk about Man Bear Pig, the Balrog, Man Bear Pig. But first, let's talk about the door and how epic it is. Because last we left off, we were talking about the Fellowship and how all the different characters, how they look and their journey here to probably my favorite part so far of the whole movie that we got into.
The Mines of Moria, the gates, the Mines of Moria, and then the Balrog. Probably my favorite part of the first movie. I told all my friends when this was coming out, because I read the book by that point. I said, I'm so excited for this movie. I just can't wait to see the Balrog, because you'd have all these cool artistic depictions of the Balrog over the years. Mm-hmm. And John Howe, who they brought on to do a lot of concept artwork for the movie, did one of the most famous ones. And there's some other ones that I'll send Nick and we'll include in the edit, just that I absolutely love. And some of them are just really spot on. But one of the big things in the books that a lot of people, when the movie was coming out, that were arguing is like, does the Balrog actually have wings? It doesn't say it has wings. There's something along the line, and I can't quite remember. Maybe someone can fill us in the comics where it moves like as if it had wings or something like that. But so people weren't sure, is it going to have wings or not? And so when you actually got to see it, it was great. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's back up. So the gate, save friend and enter. So you thought it was kind of funny because they're all arguing in the animated version, right?
Yeah, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. Like, the animated version works. There's so much more dramatic tension with, like, throwing the rock in the water and everything, for the monster.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad, except for it felt like Sam had a rubber sword. When he went to go free Mr. Frodo, I'm like, dude, did they even give him a blunt sword?
He had, like, one of those prop swords that doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's like a wooden sword.
It was just like, wait a minute, that's so funny, because I think I literally saw it, like, bend backwards. But then I loved how it took Boromir and like Aragorn like 20 tries to cut it. It didn't take 20 tries, but it felt like 20 tries. And then afterwards, it's just like swipe. It's like, whoa, what?
Jeez. But one thing I did like is this kind of made me think of a little bit of Episode 4 of Star Wars: A New Hope and the Trash Compactor, where you never see what it is. It's just this menacing thing. I don't know. Do you remember in the books? Do they talk about what creatures there,
remember.
or do they just? It's just some menace that you don't know about, I think.
With
and
tentacles.
I like that. It's the thing that you don't see and not see. And it's like the alien in the movie Alien. You don't see it. It's way scarier.
Yeah.
And that being said, in the live action, they show the creature more, but it's just a little bit. You don't see the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a cool idea. But one thing I really like in the live action they didn't do in the animated is the animated film, they're attacked, and then they go into the cave, and the door is shut. And I love that old weird dinosaur sound where it's like, like I can't do it. It's like this high pitch, and then I like how the hands grab it and close the door. Now, does that make sense? Not really.
No, but maybe he is the gatekeeper.
Didn't want to be bothered.
Yeah. Maybe he's like, what's your favorite color? Yellow. I mean,
he is
blue.
The gatekeeper. He is the gatekeeper. I am the key master.
Oh, yes.
But so that was interesting. But I like the idea that in the animated or in the live action film, they go in the Mines of Moria first. They're like, there's no way we're not going here. And then they go out, and this beast kind of forces them to go that way. It's like they have no choice, like Gandalf was saying. And I like that. That's a lot more storytelling than just being shut in there and they don't even try to get back out.
Yeah.
But just a different type of story. But I thought that was really cool.
And I thought the map paintings were so beautiful for the animated Mines of Moria. I was just like, man, this looks freaking awesome. Like, there's even some staircases and stuff that look very similar to the map paintings and stuff in the live action. You know what I mean? Like with the staircases, like switchbacking and stuff like that. I was like, oh man, this looks pretty freaking awesome. Like it's really I was cool. And I really liked even like the whole cap sequence they had going too. Like where they were just kind of like where they were hanging out, like the halfway point.
Oh yes.
Like in the movies when they talk about Smeagol and stuff like that, and then Smeagol creeps over and he pokes his head out. But what did you think? Obviously, everyone wants to know about the battles. What did you think of the battle sequences that happen at the Mines of Moria? Right, because there's an epic one, which like it's full Peter Peter Jackson when it comes to like blood and gore and heads getting chopped off and blood spewing out. Like that's so like Peter Jackson when it comes to filmmaking style, which is weird because you don't see it in the other two films really. You don't really see gore like you do in that sequence. I feel like that sequence...
You always get beheadings for sure.
But not like where you see blood squirting out. I just feel like there was more like... Maybe this action sequence is more focused because there's only 7 characters compared... Or 9 characters compared to like the epic battle sequences where it's just more like massive, you know, like...
Yeah, I mean, there's a saying in a if you talk about World War II, and obviously I'm not comparing Lord of the Rings to World War II, but they say, you know, when there is a mass shooter and 7 people are killed, you know, when an individual's, if one person's killed, it's a tragedy. When millions of people are destroyed and killed, it's a statistic, you know. And so when it's only a few people and you're more macro focused on them, the person, you know, the personal aspect of that is amplified. And so maybe that's what they were trying to do. I don't know, but it makes it feel like you're right down there in the thick of things. And in that case, you would see much more, you know, brutal things. Whereas, like you said, and we get into Two Towers and Return of the King, it's these massive armies of tens of thousands. And so it's much harder to focus in. Even though Peter Jackson does have those sweeping camera moves, it's still a little bit different. Whereas here, it's just like the core fellowship during the short period of time they're together.
Yeah.
So did you like the animated sequences though?
It's fun. You can really tell it's like rotoscoped. I thought it was so funny though when he gets stabbed. First you see like Boromir just like, and then like Aragorn.
Yeah,
it's almost like
I love how Aragorn when he falls, his feet kick up. He's like, his feet kick up in the air. Yeah,
it's so funny. It reminds me of when we did the psychedelic episode.
Yes,
and when Aragorn just like runs up to the ring. But it was fun. I'm a fan of the slow motion in these animated short. I feel like it adds to it, like the slow motion shots and like the weird echo effects, because there's no music to really get like the blood rushing and going kind of things. You're kind of just relying on weird echo sound effects like the slow motion stuff, which I think works.
So, side note, but I'm really curious to see what you think and what the people listening think. If the animated film had a really strong musical score, do you think it would have held up far better? Even if we had the same rotoscoping, you know, kind of the quality of the effects not getting better over time. If a composer was to go through and rescore this movie, do you think it would carry a lot better? Because like we talked about in all these installations so far, there is minimal music in the majority of the scenes, especially in the fight sequences. It's just the people talking.
No,
and
I think
like
you're
you said,
right.
a little bit of...
It felt so empty in the room.
Yeah.
It just felt like 3 or 4 guys were coming, and then even when they're like, now's our time to flee or run or whatever, and there's like 3 people like...
I like when there's a cave troll and you just see this like ape arm reach in and it's just so quick.
And I love in the live action when they're in the giant tunnel and there's like the little beam of light coming from the staff, and they're just surrounded by all the characters, and then you hear the...
It's really cool.
When they just scatter. Like they scatter like, oh man, like this is out, peace out, I don't want to deal with this guy kind of thing. Yeah. Where it's funny in the animated version, they're kind of like cheering him on, like come on. And I love how funny. We're getting here. Oh, we're getting here, John. We made it. And then I love how Man Bear Pig is like this. And he goes like, Gandalf, I'm here to fight you. Man Bear Pig.
It's like the intro to Street Fighter where they all have their introduction sequence.
I don't want to rip on it yet because I thought there's some funny things, and I know you're a big fan of the design and stuff, so let's praise it before I make some Man Bear Pig jokes, which I've been doing all day.
Well, so there's a number of things for the live action and the animated that I really like. So in the live action, I love how they build you up. Like you just hear the drums and you see the light and you see Gandalf just kind of like, oh no, he's like, this is...
the shadow like too, right? There's like a shadow too. Oh, so beautiful.
Like the worst thing that he knows could have happened, he's going to have to face. And you don't know if he's facing it like this in his past, but my almost thought was like, oh, he's like...
He knew that they were done for. I have to face this again.
He's like, this is going to be like the limits. And he says to him, like, you can't help with this, run, and you just take off. But you see these lights going through.
Your swords are useless here.
Columns.
Yeah, so good.
But you just see the light going through and shining through the different pillars. Like, you don't see what it is. You don't know its form, but you just see that it's coming, which is
Yeah.
really, really cool thing.
And it's so funny because, like, in the live action, don't get me wrong, I love the sequence when they're going down the stairs, but is it necessary for the film? Like, it's so much filler to add, like, the whole sequence to get them to stop, to have to jump and stuff. Where if they just kind of ran, I bet, like, if you would have just connected it to when they were running over the bridge, like, it would have been fine, like they were being chased kind of thing.
Well, I don't know what the description is. Well, I did at one point, but I forgot it. I can't remember what the description is in the books. Maybe they were trying to be very faithful to that. I remember they built some very intricate miniatures for those stairs, and really, really cool stuff. So as far as a spectacle, it is beautiful.
Oh,
but
it's
yeah,
fantastic.
as far as runtime, maybe it wasn't needed, but I do enjoy that. And especially because if you think about it, the Mines of Moria doesn't last a super, super long time. So
No.
if they would have cut that out, it might have gone by way too quickly.
It
And
lets
does
you
give
enjoy
a
it a little
sense
bit
of scale
longer.
and the vastness. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the animated scene. What about Aragorn? Like, stay back! I have a broken sword. Don't come any farther. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll just stay back. Yeah, it's a good idea. He has a broken sword. It's like,
And I swear, on the left side of the screen, when the Balrog's coming, there's a guy that looks like he's just wearing, like the camouflage that snipers wear in the jungle. Do you know what I'm talking about? He looks like a bush. He's dressed up like a bush, and he's like gonna pop out. He's like, I got you, hobbits. He's totally dressed up in like, you know what I'm talking about?
yes.
We'll have to point him out in the breakdown. I mean,
so
I was like,
good.
are you a sniper or are you an orc? You're like, or a goblin? Like,
so
pick
good.
one. Yeah,
That was
you either
so
have a
good.
sword or you have a sniper rifle. I don't know which one it is.
Okay, now the Balrog scene. I think he does like a hop fly thing. It was like
Yes,
wasn't
he
like
does
a
a hop
full
fly.
flight, but it's kind of like he got a boost, and he was like, he came down like
The
nice
fairy-
and softly.
He did the fairy fly, butterfly fly. But you have to think, they had a guy probably in some funky suit with the crazy lion head with the mane, and they just had him kind of go, ooh, and then they just animated him moving, maybe move the camera around him. So I'm completely guessing that's what happened. But honestly, I have to say, and this is partially because of the artwork that I'm going to forward to Nick. So the Hildebrandt brothers did a great calendar where one of the months, I think, or maybe it was in calendar, but they just cool painted the Balrog and Gandalf at the bridge, and it looks just like the animated film. So clearly they took inspiration from the art piece. And then you get some other ones by John Howe and other people that have, cool styles. So the Balrog, one of my favorite things, I thought he looked really gnarly and cool as the Balrog. Now he looks like a demonic, crazy thing. I just wish he had more animation to him and things like that.
Yeah, he's kind of just
being
going
said,
like this with the sword and lifting it up, like doing like some kind of dance before he kills something.
But I thought even the whip and everything was cool, and the sword was cool. So a lot of really cool stuff there. But the whip, in the live action, they did very much like they did in one of the paintings I'll send you, which is really beautiful.
Dude,
when
the
I saw
live
the
action
Balrog,
one, so beautiful. Like when it breathes and you see the heat coming from its mouth and everything, and just like the weight of it too. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a dude they're rotoscoping and stuff, but they got the weight of like the boom, boom, like the walking.
You're talking about the animated, you mean?
No,
or?
the live action, the animated 3D character of the Balrog. But I'm just saying,
that was a 3D model, though, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so when I say animated, I just mean like it's animated.
Oh, they got the weight of it.
Yeah, I just saying like they got the weight of it right with the animation, and just like the the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it goes back where this guy's just kind of like doing like weird things with his arms and stuff, which is totally fine because the guy was probably they were like act creepy, and then after we saw what they did with the ring wraiths, like walking towards the, he's like, oh man, I don't know who's in charge of their monsters here, but.
So now, Nick, did you ever play the games Diablo?
No, sir. I think we got to add it to our Twitch stream that we play live games to.
The first time I saw the Balrog in Fellowship of the Ring in theaters, I thought, oh, well, they brought Diablo from the game Diablo into Lord of the Rings. It looks just like Diablo. So at first I was kind of disappointed they didn't do something really original like the animated film did, but it looks cool. And
did
honestly,
Diablo come out first?
Oh, Diablo came out like in 1994.
Oh, interesting.
So a long time ago. But that being said, I thought at the end of the Fellowship was the end of us seeing the Balrog. And obviously we were way far ways off from talking about the Two Towers, but the Balrog looked extra cool in that sequence, I think.
Yeah,
no,
it did, especially the whole falling sequence and stuff like that, too.
Yeah, and then when it's like extinguished and stuff, it looks different, like really, really cool stuff. But honestly, I thought just the Mines of Moria, and they even talked about how they didn't want the mines to be colorful. Like in the animated film, it's kind of colorful, right? It has a warmer palette. Am I remembering correctly or
No,
no?
it is.
But then in the Mines of Moria, they're like, okay, a lot of dwarves have died here. This is a place of death. So they desaturated a whole lot. They had very kind of cool, almost greenish tones that kind of gives you a diseased feeling. And especially when they're looking at the book, you know, like the light coming through is basically the only thing that has any color to it. And that gives you the sense of dread. And you're, okay, this is kind of scary looking. This kind of reminds me of how they've depicted horror films over the years. So early on in horror films, they always had red to give you this, you know, blood and kind of the sense of dread and things like that. But as horror films have evolved over time, now it's desaturated. You're sucking the life out. You maybe have a blue or a green that gives you more of a sense of disease or coldness. And it's just funny because this animated film came out a long time ago, and Lord of the Rings, obviously the live action is quite a number of years old now as well, but you can see how the depiction of that has changed over time, which is kind of fun to talk about.
No, 100%. And then one more thing, because I threw this in there for you, John, with the clip. One of my favorite, I don't know why I like it so much after Gandalf falls. I love how it's just Aragorn, and you just kind of hear the sounds of the arrows whipping by him. And like even when he's running, how you see like, and like the sound effects. I've always enjoyed that so much. First of all, I was like, we have no reason to fear this enemy because they can't hit one target. But but like I always love the sounds, and you hear like the and like it falls down the stairs. I was always such a huge fan of that, so that was really cool.
And that's wonderful sound design, because if you were doing that, I wouldn't have thought to do that. But it's kind of like, you know, sometimes when you're so focused in on something happening, you don't hear or see what's going on around you. It's almost like they're so overwhelmed by the idea of Gandalf being gone that these other things, they know there's a danger, but it's like their thoughts are not in the present. That's just my interpretation of it, but it does give you a sense. Yeah.
John, did you realize that they left, in the animated version, they left the donkey out to die?
They did leave the donkey out, and I was thinking, I'm like, did that happen in the book? Maybe that happened in the book, and they just,
because in the movie they're like, good job, Bill, or whatever, and they like let him leave.
Yeah.
But I love how you literally see like the tentacles going for it, and they cut.
and then Samwise barely says, and then Samwise almost absentmindedly says, "Poor Bill." It's like
oh yeah, that's right. When he's walking in, he's like, "Poor Bill, get the F away from here."
He doesn't even say like "poor Bill." He's just like, "Poor Bill."
Poor old Bill. Poor Bill, run away, run
Poor
away.
Bill, but I don't have to run fast. I just have to run faster than Bill.
I hope you guys like this. This is video now number 5 of our series. We're not even to Lothlorien yet. We have so much to see. We even have Helm's Deep, and we even have the whole movie Return of the King, which we haven't even seen before. We're gonna watch it.
Yeah, the animated. Animated. We've seen the live action. Don't hate mail us. We've seen the live action, just not the animated.
If you guys want more of this, please subscribe. Let us know what your favorite part was if you made it this far. Let us know if you enjoyed Man Bear Pig, or if you thought it was super scary, or if you enjoyed the live action Demon Diablo 3 or Diablo bad guys.
Thanks again for joining us, everybody. Check out AsArt.space for all the audio and video links, and we'll see you on next AsArt.